talk to them. But that doesn't stop the process. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome everybody to tonight's regular city council meeting for the city of Dayton. It is May 12th, 2026. It is 7:05 p.m. A little late, I apologize. Call to order. Ms. Klein, please.
Member Horton.
Here.
Member Neiman.
Here.
Member Neary.
Here.
Member Kelly.
Here.
Member Judd.
Present.
Member Levins. Here. City Attorney Edmondson. Here. City Administrator Fawcett.
Here.
Mayor Baker.
Present. Now, we're going to rise for a moment of silence. All right, Mr. Fawcett. Do you need a Heimlich?
No, I'm good.
All right, we have medical professionals if you need
Need
one.
some water.
All right, yes, sir. We're going to pause for a moment of silence and a pledge. And while we're pausing for a moment of silence, remember there's two students that are not going back to Lincoln Elementary. And think about them during that moment of silence, if you would. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Upcoming is the mayor's report. I just want to remind everybody that this is, we're coming up on our Memorial Day parade. What a great time for us to be in Dayton. One of my first memories of being in Dayton was sitting in front of my house thinking, wow, that's a big parade. And every year it gets bigger. So hope everybody comes out and enjoys the parade. If you want to be volunteered, we'd love to have you. Just get with us at info@DaytonKY.com and we'll get you in the mix. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes for April 14, 2026?
So moved.
Member Neary's made the motion.
Second.
Second was made. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Any abstentions? All right. Go ahead and close that out. We'd like to go ahead and open up the podium right now for anybody who would like to address City Council or administration on any of the legislative items on tonight's agenda. So if you'd like to address the council, podium is yours. We're going to go ahead and close it because nobody's bum rushing the podium. Right along the docket. Next up is the second reading for ordinance 2026-3. Ms. Klein, please.
An ordinance amending sections 158.01 through 158.12 of Chapter 158 of the City of Dayton, Kentucky Code of Ordinances relating to reasonable accommodations in residential neighborhoods.
So I went in detail about the changes here. We've had some changes to state law regarding residential care facilities or sober living facilities, so we've updated our ordinance to recognize those changes, primarily that they now are required to get certified through the state, and we made a few other changes as well, so that's basically a cleanup ordinance.
Thank you, Mr. Fawcett. Do I have a motion to accept 2026-3?
I'll make that motion.
Member Neiman's made the motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Member Judd's made the second, which opens it up for conversation, discussion. Would anybody like to discuss 2026-3?
Do we have any of these facilities currently in town that would be grandfathered in?
We currently do not. We had one, last one we had that we know of operating officially as one closed down about 2 years ago, Cassie? Yeah, so we don't currently have one, but it's good to have it in place in case we do have one. We had one that was interested about 6 months ago. I got a call from planning and zoning. That's kind of one of the reasons we went ahead and made these changes, but I haven't heard anything since that time.
Okay, thank you.
Any other conversations, questions? Go ahead and close it out. Roll call, please.
Member Neary.
Aye.
Member Neiman.
Aye.
Member Kelly.
Aye.
Member Judd.
Aye.
Member Levens? Aye. Member Horton?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Next up on the dock is the second reading of ordinance 2026-4. Ms. Klein, please.
An ordinance amending Chapter 95 of the City of Dayton, Kentucky Code of Ordinances to prohibit the use of certain motorized vehicles in Jamestown Pike Park and Riverfront Commons except for authorized low-speed electric bikes, scooters, and skateboards.
So as I mentioned last meeting, we are changing our ordinance to allow certain low-speed electric bikes, which are Class 1, Class 2, and Class 3, which is based on the standard used by the federal government in their federal parks to use our trails in our parks. So we make it clear that these are not permitted on sidewalks. Sidewalks are much too small for these. In fact, I saw 5 kids yesterday running up and down the sidewalk in front of City Hall on the sidewalk, which is illegal. These are only for our trails, which are designed for bikes and walkers, not our sidewalks.
I'm a little confused here, Jay. This ordinance doesn't mention anything about sidewalks. It's specifically for the two parks.
That's exactly right. That's what I'm
Okay.
saying. So we have an ordinance that says that they're not permitted on sidewalks. So sidewalks are too small for any type of vehicle, bicycles, manual bicycles, or they're supposed to be in the street. That's what our ordinance requires.
Understood. Thank you.
Do I have a motion to accept, just to keep it all proper, sir? Just a conversation after the first and second. Do I have a motion to accept the ordinance 2026-4?
So moved.
Member Judd made the motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Member Levens made the second. Would anybody like to have conversation, questions, comments, et cetera, regarding this ordinance?
Again? No, I'm good.
We can reiterate.
My only question for this is,
Yes.
will this be communicated, and if so, how to the public?
So we're in the process of communicating right now because we have somebody on the sidewalks. We just did a graphic that we're going to put on our website or on our Facebook page about the sidewalks. So I guess we could do the same thing, but I think what we'll do is what we did in Sergeant Park is put a sign up that basically says that it's prohibited unless it's this type of vehicle. So I think that's the best way to do it. So when you're there, you'll see, okay, this is an appropriate or inappropriate vehicle that I have. So I mean, we can put something on our Facebook page about this as well. But we might get some confusion with our sidewalks. So maybe we wait a little while before we do that.
So when will this take effect then? Immediately?
It will take effect when it's published, which is within the next week.
Okay. Will it start being enforced before or after the signage is put up?
I think we'll probably wait until we'll put the signage up. That's what we did in Sergeant Park. So
Okay.
I'll get with Rick and we'll get the same signage, similar signage that we have up there in the park and
Perfect.
put it
Thank
on
you.
our trail. Okay.
Any other questions regarding ordinance 2026-4? All right, we'll go ahead and close the comments. Roll call, please, Ms. Klein.
Member Neiman?
Aye.
Member Kelly?
Aye.
Member Judd?
Aye.
Member Levens?
Aye.
Member Horton?
Aye.
Member Neary?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Two more readings. The first one would be the first reading of ordinance 2026-5. Ms. Klein, please.
An ordinance amending the City of Dayton, Kentucky's annual budget for the fiscal year running from July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2026, and estimating revenues and resources and appropriating funds for the city to the full extent authorized by KRS 82.082 and interpretive case law.
Assistant City Administrator Jared Barks will present on this.
This is a budget amendment for our current fiscal year that we're in now. There's not going to be a for this one. This is just to clean up the budget before the year end for extra expenses that we didn't plan for, what have you. So there's a few line items that I was going to go through, detailing what these overages are. So the waste collection, that was from the change of public to Rumpke, and then we didn't get that bid contract until the budget was already passed, so this is just us resettling that. Essentially, the homeowners are paying on the property tax bills and then more. So it's a wash. Professional services
I didn't see any report. I have a copy of the ordinance, but not the
You do this?
details. That's next year's budget you got in
Yeah.
your hands.
The cleanup.
Is there an ordinance?
There should be an Excel sheet.
I mean, I know it's only the first reading, but we'll need that information before any approval.
We need to get that to you, Joe.
Pardon me?
We need to get that to you.
I think, did anybody else get it?
Nope.
Okay.
I don't think
Yeah,
maybe,
it comes in two separate pieces. One is the ordinance verbiage and the other one is the actual numbers. And it looks like maybe the verbiage is.
I don't
All
have
right,
it.
that'd be great. Thank you.
Sorry about that.
Not an issue.
Again, that's just a first reading. More fun budget talk later. It brings us on to the next first reading, ordinance 2026-6. Ms. Klein, please.
An ordinance adopting the City of Dayton, Kentucky's annual budget for the fiscal year running from July 1st, 2026 through June 30th, 2027, and estimating revenues and resources and appropriating funds for the city to the full extent authorized by KRS 82.082 and interpretive case law.
That's me again. And there will be slides on this. I'm just gonna stick right here because my laptop has the sound system. So you get to look at me as well. So this is the budget for this upcoming fiscal year, starting July 1, 2026 through June 30th of 2027. I'm gonna skip over a lot of these pages because it's informational and literally nothing has changed since the last 3 that you've seen. So, I'm going to skip and I'll let you know the page. Okay, so page number 5.
Hey, Jared, go back real quick. Show them the ordinance. There is the ordinance. This one.
They have to be.
That's in your packet.
So page number 5 is the actual numbers that you as the city council are passing. So this is the actual ordinance, page 4 and page 5. The rest of the document is for informational purposes. And that's something I put together just so, my goal is if someone, a resident comes and they pick up this packet, they will have an education and will know kind of the ins and outs of the city finances and what projects are coming up. So, 5 are the ordinance. The next pages are going to be the financial policies of the city. We've not changed any of those policies. They are the exact same policies as we've had in the past, so I'm not going to cover those. If anybody has any specific questions about them, feel free to yell them out. Next is the budget schedule. It just talks about when the budget process starts, what kind of activities are in there, and how we formulate the budget itself. Those are the next few pages. Starting on page 12, that's going to be a description of all of our funds. We have 5 different funds in the city, and it gives a description of each one. It talks about what monies go in there and what purposes they are for. There's a lot of good information there, which I did not cover. Page 15 is going to be the history of the city. The history of the city hasn't changed since last year, so.
Yes. Come on.
16 is going to be an organizational chart of the city and all of its staff in case anybody wants to see how the city functions and who reports to who. Page 17 is going to be the city council priorities. They came up with those priorities and voted on them March 28th of this year. And we utilize that information to create the budget document, and they kind of give us what they want to see. Okay, so now we're getting to the actual meat of the document. So that'll be city revenues, starting on page 19. This chart shows the 3 main revenue sources for the city: property tax, occupational tax, and insurance premium tax, and it shows the trending of those 3 revenue sources. We are expecting occupational tax to overtake property tax and insurance premium tax as our #1 revenue generator for the 3rd year in a row. It's only 3 years that Dayton's ever done that, which is good news because it means
Hey, it's pretty blurry.
What's the question? What's the question?
The whole thing is blurry. Oh, that's better.
All right, thank you for that. Then we're gonna go to expected grant revenues on page 21. We have 3 open grants, which is significantly down from what we had before, which is great. We're finally getting a lot of these projects done. We don't have this kind of hanging over our head where we constantly have to save for these really large projects. So we have Dayton Pike Sidewalk Phase 2. We have another one that we're gonna be applying for to do some work on the O'Fallon Bridge. And then the last one is gonna be the Riverfront Levee Trail project, where we're gonna be resurfacing on top of the levee wall trail. With that particular project, design will be this next fiscal year, and then construction will be the fiscal year after that. And that's just how the grant works with the city. Okay, so page 22 is gonna go through each of the 5 funds, and it's gonna show you a history of how much money we've taken into the past, and then what our proposal for what we think the revenues are gonna be for each of these funds, on the right-hand side. Do anybody have any questions about revenues? Okay, so now we're gonna go to expenditures. This first chart on page 24 is showing the blue line is how much we budgeted, and the green line is how much we've actually spent. So as you can see, the city significantly budgets more than we actually spend. That's because we are frugal, but it's also because we have all of those lingering grants that are not finishing. And so we just consistently have to put that money back into the budget as if we were going to finish those projects. Page 25, each of those colored stacked lines is each of the departments, and the black line on the top is the revenue sources of the city. So our goal is for that black line to be over top of those stacked colored lines, because that's showing that we have more revenue coming in than we are expending out. As you can see, prior to 2022, the city was consistently spending more than it was taking in. We abruptly changed that trending, and so now we are making more than we are spending, which is obviously what we need to be doing. Next page on 26 is going to show the general fund expenditures. I give you 2 years of what we've done in the past compared to what we're proposing for this upcoming fiscal year, which you can see in the blue column on the right. And so those are all of our estimates for all of the different categories within the budget. And then underneath that, you're going to see a portion of the general fund, and that's going to be broken up by each of the departments, general government, police, fire. You can see the percentage of how much each of those costs the city relative to the entire budget as a whole. Okay, so the next page is really where we're going to get into each of the large ticket items that we're planning on spending. So the first page on 27 is going to show all of the city vehicles. I've tried to organize it a bit better this year. So we're going to talk about city vehicles. So the police department is going to receive 1 additional vehicle in their lease program, and this will bring them up to 10 total vehicles within that lease program. So as you can see, police vehicle leases, it says $162,000. That is the payment for all of the vehicles that we have leased. So for all of the 10 vehicles, we are going to be paying $162,000 for this particular year. The police department also requested for e-bikes. They were going to have money for 1 for $5,000. The city council also approved the purchase of a John Deere Gator ATV for the public works department. We are going to be looking at whether we're going to be leasing that or purchasing that, so we're going to look at 2 options and see which one is better. And then we have 2 current vehicles that we already have that are in the lease program for code enforcement. They have 1 vehicle, and public
Wait, I'm sorry, can I interrupt? The Gator thing, 40 grand, what did you say about it again? The first line you said? Somebody approved it, somebody wanted it, what did you say?
This is for Public Works, they requested it.
Requested, okay,
Yeah, we talked about it at a strategic planning session, it seemed like you guys were okay with that.
not okay with it.
So now we're gonna be determining, are we gonna buy it outright, or are we gonna lease it from the leasing program that we have? So we'll look at the two options to see which one better serves this.
Okay.
Blurry. Not blurry.
Are there any other questions about vehicles?
Yes, I have a question about vehicle. So I'm concerned again about the Roundup, and this is new for Dayton, according to Public Works, that they have not used Roundup before, or very little, or never, or they couldn't remember. And because Covington does it, we're now going to get this Gator and spray Roundup all over alleys, the city, wherever. Very concerned. Will not approve it. There's a lot of lawsuits about cancer and Roundup and glyphosate. Concerned. I hope that there's a way that we can post to the public, because maybe, I don't know who cares and who doesn't, but I think the public should be aware that this little paragraph about this John Deere thing means that they're spraying Roundup all over the city.
That's not what it means.
Well, that's what I heard it meant, so what does it mean?
It means that we're buying the vehicle. The vehicle is also for watering plants.
I understand that, but there was a $15,000 attachment to spray Roundup.
Are there any other questions about city vehicles? Okay. So now we're gonna go to street alley projects, repaving and repair. Our main project, and really the only one that we're gonna have for next year, is Dayton Pike. As you know, the Dayton Pike sidewalk project has been going on. A lot of road damage, a lot of cuts, a lot of concrete work up there. And so once that grant project is completed, we are gonna be repaving the entire road from 7th Avenue to Fort Thomas Line, which I know a lot of people will be excited about. So that's our one and only repaving project for next year. We have a stormwater project from Lincoln Road, and it's potentially gonna cost $80,000. This is all on page 20, by the way, if you're following along. We do anticipate ST1 doing a cost share, so I don't anticipate it being the full $80,000, but we budgeted just in case. And then the last street repaving project is the 7th Street Alley. That's where those townhomes are going to be located, and we have a deal with the developer to pay for a part of that alley restoration for that property. Are there any questions about street paving or street projects? Okay. Next is city buildings and infrastructure. We are budgeting $50,000. That's gonna come from that $500,000 we received from the developer, so that's not gonna be city taxpayer funds. And we're budgeting $50,000 for that design. Out of that total $500,000, you'll see that later on. The next project I just wanted to mention, there's not gonna be any funding toward it, but that's the new Public Works garage. We already have a design for that. But I just wanted people to know that that's still in process, that's still in the works, so I wanted to have that listed, even though we're not requesting any funding for that as of the moment. Next, as far as expenditures go, page 29 is gonna be general fund grant match. So these are the same, grants that I talked about before, just showing what the share of the cost is gonna be for the city. So again, that's the Dayton Pike sidewalk, the Riverfront levee wall trail. We have a, Riverfront Commons ramp project, and the O'Fallon Bridge, which I already mentioned before. Last thing that I want to mention on page 30 is in the expenditure category is the city hall funds. I call it reserve funding, and that just means the city has no intention of spending that in the next fiscal year, but we do intend to keep it saved for a future project that we have in the books. So city hall funds, we have $450,000. Again, that's the 500 minus the 50 that we're going to use for the design. So we'll have $450,000 left out of that fund. And then the other project that we discussed was the 7th Street site repair. The
that amount will allow us to actually start construction by installing all the piers that need to go into the ground. So we'll need to get additional funding to do the repaving. But we felt like we tried to get money from the state for this project in the last session. We worked with our legislators, but we did not get it. I don't think we can wait any longer, so we decided that we think it's best to kind of go ahead and start that because we're getting more complaints from residents on 6th Avenue about water issues and things of that nature. So that's a big expenditure, but it's got to be done at some point. So can't really wait any longer.
I will say the benefit of having that reserve funding in the budget document, you can provide that to sources of income like the state or grants or something saying, hey, we already have this much saved, and they really like to see that. So on page 31, this is a new section that I've added, and that's just talking about staff changes that we're proposing. So the two staff changes that we're proposing is the police department, the council, we discussed adding a part-time staff member to them, so that would bring them from 13 employees to 14. And then the other one, which we've not discussed, that we're looking at is potentially in the code enforcement department, moving our part-time staff to a full-time position. So that's not ironclad, we're still talking to that particular employee. And, but I wanted to make sure that it was budgeted for in case that did occur.
I have a question. The part-timer that you just suggested, was that about a social media person? Okay,
No, the code enforcement is the rental inspector, and we're
okay,
now looking at the job description and how that will
okay.
The problem is that over the last few years, we really put additional responsibilities on the code enforcement department, which is basically Cassie and doing everything except for rental inspection. And so she's overwhelmed, and we feel like this is a good opportunity for us to maybe help reduce some of her issues and also get some other things done like sidewalk inspections and things that we really didn't have time to do.
and that pays for his salary. So even if we made him full-time, it would cost us very little money in order to make that change. If that makes sense. Okay. So that's all general fund expenditures. Are there any questions about that? Okay. So I tried to break out a little more out each of the other funds so you could see what the specific projects are going to be in those. So the next one is going to be the park fund. The capital expenditures that we're looking at there is the Sergeant Park Pavilion retaining wall. That will cost around $35,000 to redo. We're also going to be looking heavily at the drainage of that site. We have a lot of mudslides and a lot of gutter work that needs to be done with that. So that's also going to be in that project. Park upgrades. This is a line item that I use for the park board. So they will have $50,000 to
Catch your breath there, sir. Thank you very much for your presentation, Mr. Barks. Does anybody have any questions for Assistant City Administrator Barks for the budget?
I will say, because I know this is a question that we get every year, this is already on the website, this is how I pulled it up right now. The community, it will also be on our social media pages starting tomorrow. And so, you all as the council have 30 days for your first reading. I encourage the community and the residents to also look at the document and feel free to contact management or any of the city council members and give your thoughts and opinions about it as well.
So again, we'll ask anybody, any questions for Mr. Barks? All right, well, thank you very much, sir, for your presentation. And again, that's just the first reading. We'll have time to discuss over the next month or so. Well done. A couple years ago, remember, Joe, there was an Excel sheet that looked like I put it together? Yeah. We did good, we did good. Next up, we have a order resolution. The first would be Order Resolution 2026-7 Romeo. Ms. Klein, please.
Order resolution adopting and approving the execution of a municipal aid co-op program contract between the City of Dayton, Kentucky and the Commonwealth of Kentucky, Transportation Cabinet, Department of Rural and Municipal Aid for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2026, as provided in the Kentucky Revised Statutes, and accepting all streets referred to therein as being streets which are a part of the City of Dayton, Kentucky.
So order resolution. Do I have a motion to accept Order Resolution 2026-7 Romeo?
So moved?
Member Judd made the motion. Do I have a second?
Second?
Second by Member Neiman, which opens it up for conversation, comments, and questions. Mr. Foss, anything to discuss?
Yeah, it's the annual allocation from the Transportation Cabinet for Municipal Road Fund Aid, and it's gone down a little bit because they've never changed the tax. Despite the fact we're paying top dollar for a gallon of gas, the tax remains the same as it did 20, 25 years ago. So they've never adjusted that to just when you get it more pay more at the tank, at the fuel tank. That's where this money comes from. So, yeah, so it's a little bit less than last year, but every little bit helps when we're paving these roads. So that's what it'll be used for.
Any questions or comments regarding 2026-7 Romeo?
And with all the talk out of state capitals and Washington DC about putting a pause on the fuel taxes, I don't know if that's going to affect what we're going to bring in next year if Kentucky were to put a pause on the fuel tax. So we'll have to be conservative with our
The good thing is the
expenditures.
session's over. We don't have to worry about that for another year. But I think the tax right now, I've heard it, is the federal fuel tax. Have you heard anything about the state? Thinking about doing the same thing? I don't know. They're two separate taxes.
I thought I heard that Governor Beshear was considering it.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I heard that too.
I guess the governor could do it.
He did like a month
11
ago,
cents.
or 2 weeks ago. We had a motion to accept and a second. Roll call, please, Ms. Klein.
Member Kelly.
Aye.
Member Judd.
Aye.
Member Lovins. Aye. Member Horton.
Aye.
Member Neary.
Aye.
Member Neiman.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Now, typically, we go right along to department directors' monthly reports. However, we do have,
What's that?
we don't. You interrupted me, sir.
Sorry.
I'm going to interrupt you sometime.
Okay.
And that's going to be payback.
Kids,
I
come on.
apologize.
Thank you for apologizing. Typically, we go on to department directors' monthly reports. However, tonight we have a guest in the audience who was trying to get here on time for 7 o'clock start, but we know that traffic coming down Dayton Pike can be a thing. So, Judge Pendry, if you'd like to address council, you're more than welcome to have the podium.
First, let me apologize, then let me invite you to laugh at me with me, because what happened is, I came up 471, and as soon as I got on the expressway, it was backed up, but I figured, it'll clear, I'm gonna stay here. And a couple minutes after 7, I called for you to tell you I was gonna be late, but of course, you guys turn your phones off, right, at the meeting? So, by the time I got off the expressway, I was gonna be, late. but I thought, you know, you'd have some preliminaries or something, I'd still get here. But I was in a hurry. So I asked Siri to, you know, get me to the city council, the Dayton, Kentucky City Council meeting. I don't know if I told her City Hall or not.
Probably did.
But I wound up at City Hall, and I'm like, how did I get here? So I went over, and, you know, maybe they're holding a meeting somewhere else. I know I told her, you know, so I bang on the door, it's locked, I get back in the car. And then on the way here, she's telling me how to go. I actually gave her the address then, instead of telling her where I wanted to go. And I was in such a hurry that I turned before I should have, and I was on a one-way street. And so then she had me all the way over and almost up to 8 and back around again and down. And, you know, here I am.
Welcome.
Yes. Well, I will tell you that I am a peerless leader. I'm just not very good at directions, apparently, right? And I tease. But I did want to come by and say hello. And thank you for the quality of the relationship that the county has with Dayton, Kentucky, and with the mayor and the administration. And wanted to say hi to Chief Halfell and all the rest of you. There's one thing I wanted to mention, just to ask questions if you have them. We broke ground on a public safety building that's going to be built near A.J. Jolly Park, which is sort of the center of our service area for our police and emergency people. So it represents an improvement for us, and this is going to be a purpose-built, state-of-the-art place that's designed around the occupancies to make them more efficient. And one of those occupancies is going to be the dispatch operation that is currently in Newport. Dispatch and the emergency management people are supposed to be enclosed within spaces that are hardened against every calamity you can think of, and there's supposed to be generators in case the lights go out, and we've been a little shy of facilities like that. So we've got 4 agencies in the same building, all of whom collaborate, and they are properly served, you know, by the building with the requirements that best practices around the country call for in the housing of those agencies. Now, that could lead somebody to ask questions, and I'm either here to answer them, or if you find you have some or your citizens do, we're happy to send somebody down here to talk it over, or, you know, whatever you need from us, we're happy to provide. I wanted to mention, you know, as I'm talking about our relationship with Dayton, that one of the things I noticed when I was a mayor, probably didn't notice while I was still a city councilman, I was learning my way around, but what I noticed is cities often are saddled with jobs that really are best provided by an agency that has more scale. If you have to hire your own subject matter expert, and every city tries to do that for whatever the purpose may be, that's not very efficient. For one thing, in some cases, you can't keep them busy full-time, and for another, those are pricey salaries. So it seemed to me it would be better if, well, this dawned on me when I became judge executive, it would be better if the county could provide some of those services to all the cities, thus making it more efficient. And among those things are things like planning and zoning, building inspection, police social workers, and tank. There's a larger list than that. There's animal control, and there's occupational tax collection, and so forth. But the point is to provide cities with a menu of things that, if they want to participate and have the county do the work, could represent a savings, you know, to that city. So we have a menu, such a menu that we offer to the cities, and you all are using a number of those things. I think you love and appreciate Cindy Minner, and she does planning and zoning, and she's an asset that nobody else in the county has. You know, she should be shared, and there are other examples. So I want to thank you for that partnership, because that helps make our programs go. And your participation helps make people like that available to all the other cities too. So I'm not sure that I need to talk a lot more. Do you have any questions for me? Anyone? Maybe some instruction on navigation? would
Well,
be
it sounds like you,
in order.
it sounds like you just experienced the bane of Bellevue and Dayton with Route 8 coming off of 471, and we've been asking KYTC to take a look at that. I know the county's responsible for a lot of road miles, but
200,
200.
yeah.
We really could use some help with getting those two intersections more efficient, put it that way.
Roundabout.
I don't care if it's a helicopter, something's got to be done. So you just experienced what our citizens experience every day, and it really does need to be addressed. It's affecting our citizens, our property values, and our businesses. So I'd appreciate it if you could
Well, I'm
nudge.
taking you seriously, but I think what I experienced is Siri doesn't like me, and I'm a boomer. So, I guess that's what it is. My kids ridicule me all the time about that.
Well, you can go back up Dayton Pike. That's a nice
that's
ride there.
That's easier for me. I
Around
lived on
7:30
Dayton
a.m.
Pike
try to
for
get to
many years.
downtown.
Pardon me?
Around 7:30 a.m. try to get to downtown. Roundabout.
Yeah.
Yep. It's backed up all through Bellevue.
If you'd like, District 6 people are working with us all the time, and we have quarterly meetings with them, and if somebody wants to go, you're always welcome to do that.
Well, I
It
know-
is at light at Party Source. That is the problem.
Yeah. I know our administration's been working with Bellevue's administration and I think Newport's too. But any influence that you could have to keep that nudging forward, I know KYTC's overloaded, especially District 6 with the Brent Spence Bridge project is taking up a lot of their time, but we still got to take care of the little people.
Well, all of us are little compared to that.
Yeah.
And actually, I'll give you this warning. In the last legislative session, I started to hear people in the legislature from other areas of the state, that we're getting billions of dollars for our bridge and we're not paying tolls, and maybe we're getting enough. Kind of I didn't hear that on the floor of the House or the Senate, but, in the quiet of offices while you're lobbying people, you hear some of those things. So we have got to make the point over and over again that bridge is pivotal for everybody in Kentucky. Now maybe the effects lessen a little bit when you get to the edge of the state, but certainly Lexington and Louisville need the interstate system, and that bridge carries 3 or 4% of the entire GDP of the United States. So, got to be on that.
Well, Route 8 handles 100% of Dayton's traffic.
Yeah, it's a thorny problem. I think the businesses along Route 8 really don't want another lane added if that means there's not parking
Right.
on either side of the street, right? And so the day has probably passed that you could go down a street and create sort of a circulation pattern with two streets.
You could put a double decker in Bellevue. I've always thought about that. Just
Yeah, it's not so much the capacity, it's the timing on those signals down there is whacked and has been for years.
Okay. That's,
So that could be a simple solution to do a study on that, redo the timing on the lights to at least get it better.
okay, well, I'll give you a clue there that, OKI is the #1 rated transportation planner in the United States among MPOs. And they have grant money up to 80% that you can apply for. It's a competitive process. And they do signalization studies. It would require a 20% match from somewhere. But that's something out there. And I'm just mentioning that because I know about it. There could be other things to do, and we can investigate that.
Appreciate it, thank you.
All right.
I have a
Again,
question. I have a question about occupational licensing and permits. Countywide, that can get expensive if you're like a business and you go to Silver Grove and then you come to Dayton. Have you guys have thought about streamlining and having one blanket occupational tax permit for the whole county of Campbell County, and then making sure that you could allocate the funds to each municipality and to streamline and make it easier for businesses so they don't have to get permits in every single city?
Right. Okay, so we are involved in a years-long, you could even say decades-long process, where in the beginning, everybody had their own occupational taxes, their own exclusions and deductions and things, and everybody that did business in multiple jurisdictions had to fill out forms for each, deliver those forms to each, and deal with each city as they were working through the accuracy of the form. We now have a situation where we have, I gotta think about this. There are 10 cities with occupational taxes like you're talking about, of the 15 in the county. And I think 7 of them are having us collect their occupational taxes. We spent $500,000 the last time we spent money on software to make a tax portal that taxpayers for participating cities can use to pay their occupational taxes. And we've got a form, I think, to fill out to get that done. But it is still very complicated because each city still has different deductions and exclusions and things, or enough of them to make the whole thing still complicated.
I think that in the last legislative session that they actually passed a law that's going to require the state to basically make a form that all cities have to use in the future for occupational licenses. Probably address what you're doing. They're going to standardize the form and require all cities to do it, and counties.
That would be absolutely fabulous.
I think that was passed this past session, so.
That's an
It's going to take a
intermediate
year to
step.
do it, though, I think.
That's an intermediate step we should leap on, because what they've also been talking about doing is collecting all that stuff themselves, and that's the last thing any of us would want.
They didn't do that.
Yeah.
They are requiring the standardized form, but yeah, we don't want them to
Yeah.
collect it. We want to
So,
do that.
you know, if we can get everybody on the same form, that's a step in the right direction. And at that point, if somebody has like a heating and air conditioning business and they're in all the counties of Campbell doing work, it's less complicated, and they could be paying the amount that each city wants them to pay to us to be just distributed, back, which is better than if we had one rate and we collected things and then we had to come up with a methodology to give people what they regard as a fair amount without asking, where these businesses actually cited. Some people suggest that would really be complicated. And maybe unsatisfactory. I don't know. So anyway, there's my happy news for the evening.
I think it's a great question you asked, Member Horton. A lot of people have that question. It's convoluted. Yeah. Any other questions for Brett Pendry?
Well, I appreciate your indulgence, and again, my
I
apologies.
could have made you sit through the whole meeting, sir. Next time, that's what we're gonna do.
Well, I'm a slow learner with some things, but I embarrass easily and I won't forget.
That's all right, sir. Well, I appreciate your time and your service, sir. All right, moving right along the docket. Next up, we have the Department Director's monthly reports. As we like to do, ladies first. Ms. Patterson, please, with your code enforcement.
Do you have a copy of my report? There's a lot this month. Just keep in mind that 60 of those are rental inspection citations that people have not filled out. Those were due in April. So we're starting to send out citations now of people that have not paid. inspections we're starting to ramp up. I know he's doing Manhattan apartments, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So it's a lot of units in 3 days. So, that's about it, really. Any questions?
13 pages?
I know. Busy.
And I'm noticing that the vast majority are, the owners are not Dayton residents, it seems like. But I thought the best thing about your, well, I know it's not your report, it's from Animal Enforcement. Terry. Tuesday, April 14th, got called out at 2 a.m. for a raccoon that fell through the ceiling.
Oh,
The
that's gotta be
raccoon
fun.
was in the window of the bedroom. I was able to remove it. People wonder where their tax money goes.
Yeah. She
Raccoon
is,
just fell through your, that's great.
she is great.
She is.
She is,
And I know you work in conjunction with her on a lot of
Yeah.
these properties. Much appreciated.
yes, yes. Dogs aren't, it seems like it kind of comes and goes. Like, 1 week we'll have like 3 loose dogs, people calling, and then we don't hear 2 weeks go by. It's just, yeah. We had one roamer, and it finally got a new house. That's a good thing. Yeah. If you have any questions, email me, call me, whatever. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Patterson. I believe Chief Hatfield's got a lot on his docket tonight, so we'll let him speak and get it out of the way. Chief,
Hopefully I don't have too much.
talk about scooters, man.
You have my monthly report. Just what I want to add is just a couple things we have going on our Facebook page. We're kind of developing something. It's going to be down here, July 22nd from 12P to 2P, which is coloring with cops. We struck a good deal with the slushy. What is that? I'm trying to think of the name of the.
Kona Ice?
Kona Ice, yes, thank you. So the Kona Ice agreed to come to a majority of our events, and I believe there's a cookie, mobile cookie place too. So now they're going to help be at some of our events also. So that is going to be July 22nd. Another thing we're going to be doing is just, I don't know if you've seen also on the Facebook page, we're going to be doing something, it's called Behind the Badge. It's just something to get to know the individual officers, if people kind of want to know who's out there on the city streets. So these are questions like why you became a police officer, what you enjoy about working in the city of Dayton, what do you do on your time off, some rapid fire questions and things like that. So
This is on Facebook?
this is on our Dayton
Okay.
Police Facebook page. So we got pretty many members now. So it's going to be a new feature. So try to be a little more social, get out in the community a little bit more. Joe, we have the mobile radar unit on Manhattan.
I saw
is
that. It's great.
Finally in, so we're testing the batteries to see how long that they will last. So I think they've gone about a week and a half,
Good.
almost 2 weeks long. So that has helped us out a little bit with me changing, because sometimes it was only lasting a couple days. So I had to do it twice a week, and it got a little tedious. The other good news is we had a report that we are the 22nd safest city. That was for 2026. We've come a long way from 150 in my 10 years here. So we are now the 22nd, and that puts us kind of, Fort Mitchell's at 19, Villa Hills is at 18. So we're in good company. So we've strived for public safety in the city of Dayton, and I think that's what we see fruits of our labor with the businesses and people out. Just coming down here, just so many people out walking around. It's just nice to see that they feel safe. So I do like seeing that. I think that's all I have with my report. If you have any questions?
Well, I want to thank you for, I don't know if the rest of the council noticed on Facebook, people are complaining about, or worried about the safety with all these electric scooters, electric bikes. The kids are all over the place. And I reached out to Chief this morning and he put together, or you already had that you had distributed
Yeah,
to the
we
school.
put it out in March. We gave it to the school to share with Lincoln and the high school. We came up with more of a kid-friendly type picture, more of a cartoonish that has the rules on it and stuff like that. I just sent something to Rick Wolf, the superintendent. He emailed me right before the meeting started and asked me if I wanted to send that picture to the high school and Lincoln. I said, all students, just send it out. And he said they're going to send it out first thing tomorrow. Send it home with every parent. And
I appreciate it.
so, yeah, so we appreciate that. So we're trying the best we can. I mean, there's a lot of kids out there. We've stopped them and told them, and this is going to be, we don't want to, be the bad guys. We want to keep that community, relationship with our kids that we've worked so hard to get through the high school with SRO Brendel. I mean, the kids love him, and we want to continue that. So, we kind of want to work with the parents to try to resolve this.
And it's a public safety issue, not only here, but I think in every town, every community.
It's everywhere.
These things are getting cheap, and they're cheaply made, some of them. I worry about the fire with these lithium batteries. I know Attorney Edmondson sent me a great analysis of what's going on in other communities and suggestions on what we should do. I think we got some work ahead of us. Fort Thomas is voting on theirs tonight, what they've proposed, and Alex, you said that we can maybe base some of that, Covington, et cetera. But I think in the next couple of months, this council has to work on some kind of legislation so that if you're driving down the street right now and a kid comes around the corner like they do and goes into the side of your car, who's actually responsible if there's no laws in place? And it's not just a monetary issue or an insurance issue, it's also giving the parents some clear information that they can pass on to their kids and enforce. Right now, it's kind of the wild, wild west. What we have in place is old and not addressing these scooters. In your recommendations, Mr. Edmondson, one of them that you said was, do it in different steps. And step one is to get information out to the community about safety and what the rules are and everything. So I applaud you for getting that out quickly.
Yeah, we put it out in March when it started to come, when it started getting warm, and we started seeing those things, so we immediately got it to the schools. But since time has passed a little bit, it's like, oh, it's out of sight, out of mind, they forget about it. We gotta just, be continual in reminding the kids that, the safety.
Right.
And we usually had a summer safety fair for the kids to let them know, safety before they were released for summer break. We went over all the rules and expectations of what we like to see with safety, and we just missed this year, I guess, with that. So,
and a lot of these ordinances or provisions in different cities that Alex passed along not only cover these little electric things, but also bicycles, because I hear people complaining about people on bicycles ripping through stop signs. So it's pretty much an all-in-one redefinition of what the rules are. But you've already done the step one. What information do we have? What are the rules? And get them out there. I don't know that statewide. I was with the park board last night, and the girl in charge of the park board is very involved with cycling, and she was saying that in the state of Kentucky, most other states classify Class 1, Class 2, Class 3 on these electric bikes, scooters, et cetera, and Kentucky hasn't done that yet, which really limits how you can define it.
and I brought that up, I think, in March, that we need to probably address our state reps to have something next session, because this session was already, going on to, I'm sure with all the cities having to deal with this is something that the state's gonna have to put in place sometime next session is gonna be forthcoming.
Well, Alex, would it be okay to send this report to all the council and the rest of administration and police to get their input on it?
So, I mean, it's a powder keg of issues. And as far as I put some thoughts in there based upon what other places are doing. What we're learning now is that because I'm seeing the prosecution side of it,
because I see that in my other rule, is that now they're going to bikes. They're figuring out how to turn a scooter into a bike with a pedal,
Right.
so that they can argue that it's an electronic bike, so that it doesn't have to comply with all the other restrictions. And until the legislature acts on that, it's another way around it. So we're now seeing bikes that have like fake pedals, or scooters that have fake pedals. It's bizarre. It's going to take a tragedy before there's real change. And as far as the comments that I put out, I mean, every city's reacting to it differently. There are some communities that are saying this is how our children are transporting themselves to school,
Right.
because a parent is no longer wanting to wake up and take their kid to school. And there are people that are saying, I can't get my kid there, so this is the only way for them to safely get there, so they don't have to wake up at whatever time and walk. So I know it's an issue that is near and dear to a lot of different jurisdictions. Happy to forward it. It's really a place to start the conversation, not end it, because each of those different ordinances that I looked at were different, based upon the pressure, whether it be political or just some other pressure. They're a little different. One thing is true: there's no solution for the e-bikes. I mean, there's just, that's a real problem for us if we decide to do it, because the legislature has clearly said local rule prevails on the scooter side and put that in the statute. E-bike, I don't have an answer for it.
I'd like to do even more research on this, and we can't wait for the legislature in January to do something. They've passed on it for 2 years. And somebody mentioned online, oh, you don't want these kids to have any fun. I sure do. I mean, I did stupid things on my bike when I was a kid. I just want these kids to come home safe. And the more we can get these messages out, even if it's a warning to the kid or blowing the horn at them or whatever. But please, for everybody driving out there, please be careful, because right now it's kind of crazy. Not only here, everywhere else too. But I appreciate you acting on that so quickly, Chief.
Any other questions for Chief Hatfield? Thank you for your time, sir.
All right, thank you.
Chief Schaefer.
Good evening.
Evening.
So there's a couple highlights. Everybody has a copy of my report. So last month we made 177 runs. 50 of those fire, 127 of them are EMS. Getting warm. Runs are increasing slightly. We did training, driver's training, fire behavior, pump ops, altered mental status, protocols, some auto extrication. Our medical director came down, did some protocol reviews with us, with some protocol changes. So year to date, 776 hours of training already. So that's awesome. We did 17 inspections. Don't forget, May 1st started the statewide burn ban. That's a state issue, or a state mandate, not us. So from May 1st until October 1st, there's no open burning, no burn permits. There's flyers we'll put on, move to the front of the website. I think I'll bring some over the city as far as fire pits and what kind of fire pits are allowed. So we had Duke Energy come in and do their electric safety class. That was very interesting, pretty cool. So that was neat. Once again, beginning of the month, we did the fire department showcase. So thank you for everybody participating in that. We did get our ladder truck back this week. So we have a few items, a few things we want to move around and get back in, maybe organize a little bit different. So, but it's back. Getting ready to get back in service probably next week. We noticed our ambulance getting new brakes, so we have a backup ambulance yesterday, today, so ours should be back tomorrow. We had the state fire marshal come up and the school security marshal did some school walkthroughs in both cities, addressing fire issues in all the schools, so that was interesting. Unfortunately, our crews responded to the tragic fire in Newport. not much to be said about that. Everybody did what they could, and so, our thoughts are with the families, and everybody was on the scene. It was a pretty tough thing. And then the other thing is the fire board approved a new vehicle. The old chief's vehicle had some issues, mechanical issues, wasn't worth fixing, so was able to get a new chief's vehicle. The lighting should be installed probably next week and be good to go, so thank you all for that. Any questions?
I'm going to go on record. I will never do your training again.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thanks, Chief. Mr. Lucas. Your report, sir.
Well, we've been working on getting ready for the parade, and some of the things we've done lately, other than our normal stuff, cutting grass and alleys and cutting back the roadside, we put in a sidewalk that was 30 feet long, 6 foot wide, down on 3rd Street. We did that one. And then we did a small one down at the pickleball court, where you can walk into the pickleball court now from a sidewalk, and an area on the side where we put a garbage can on. And we got one more big project to do down on 2nd and Benham. There's 2 big areas in the road that's gonna have to be tore up, and we can do that. And then we did a walkthrough on the river trail yesterday, and they found out some things. I'm sure Jay's gonna talk all about that, and he's got another thing to talk about too. There's a couple of them he gets to do. And, other than that, we're busy, and we, if anybody's got any questions.
Any questions for Mr. Lucas?
Thanks.
Thank you for your time, sir. And that concludes the department director's monthly reports for this evening, and this month, for that matter. It brings us right along to the city administrator's report. Mr. Fawcett, sir.
Thank you, Mayor. As Rick referenced, I got a couple of things that, one is very near and dear to your heart. The railings on Dayton Steps are about halfway finished.
Okay.
The tough part's coming now. There's the big sections that need to be replaced, but she's gotten almost about halfway up, and going pretty good. We also had our whole Public Works team out there yesterday, the day before, cleaning the steps and cleaning all the trees and bushes along the side. So it's much more safe. The lights that are above the steps now will be able to shine directly down without tree interference. So they did a really great job cleaning that up. So I think that once she gets done, I think we're going to start painting it. We're trying to figure out paint colors, the type of paint. She's giving us some help on that. And
What, paint the railings, you mean?
we're going to paint the railings because it will rust where they've been repaired. So they were originally painted before. I think they've been painted a couple times. One maybe black, and then one was silver. We're thinking about maybe something bright, maybe like Green Devil green. So we're trying to figure that out. So that will happen. We think we might start painting it while she's still working, so we can work our way up behind her. And so I think she's got probably a few more weeks left there, but like I said, some of the stuff that she has to do now becomes a little more complicated. There's large sections that are missing. Most of the work she's done so far, she's replaced a couple sections, but just been fixing some of the holes that have over the years have deteriorated through rust and erosion, fixing those. So it's good. So we're getting there. So
So you're painting it this month?
what's that?
You're starting to paint it this month-ish?
I think we'll start painting this month.
Okay.
Yeah. The problem is if we don't start painting it, they'll get rusty. So the sooner we do it, the better. We'll clean it off with a wire brush and sandpaper and then paint it. So that's one of the projects that is underway, which is great. As Rick alluded to, we did a walk on the trail yesterday with Mike Gager, Rick, me, Will Weber from South Bank Partners, and also the inspector from Prime Prime Engineering. KYTC now makes you bring in an independent inspector to inspect the work. While we did the inspection, the concrete's fine, it's great. There was one that had to be replaced, it got cracked by some heavy equipment, I think. They replaced that. So all the concrete is done. It looks fabulous. The views are amazing. They're panoramic from the trail. But there are some issues with the amount of fill that's in there. They should have put in more fill. They've got some places where there's not a lot of distance between the trail and down to the river, so we're having Bruce come back. It wasn't filled according to the plans, so this is why we go through and do a walkthrough like that. So they're working this week, putting the fill in place to achieve the slope that was called for in the plan. So hopefully that will be done here soon. Because of this additional work, we're not going to be able to do the ribbon cutting this month, so it looks like we're going to move it to June, make sure that everything's done. There needs to be some touch-up work on some of the concrete up on the Manhattan Boulevard where it was next to the rolled curb. There's some gaps that needs to be filled so water doesn't infiltrate that. So they'll be doing that as well. So, but they've been told the issues that need to be addressed, and they've been working on it since we told them. So. Hopefully, we will, like I said, we can't keep people off the trail, even though they're down there working occasionally, and we close it off. People are loving it, and they're coming down there and walking. It's fine if we're not working on it, but when we're working on it, we block it off. So it's going really well. What else? Today, we had all the fourth graders from Lincoln Elementary at Wayfair for lunch. Not we, but the Educate NKY, they adopted that class, and they came, I think, and talked about that a couple of meetings ago, and the kids had a great time. They had 2 classes of fourth graders all there. We packed the whole inside room, the middle room there, and they had pizzas and salads, and it was really good. They had a lot of folks from the NKY building down in Covington, not just Educate NKY, but the Catalytic Fund had 3 or 4 people there, and a bunch of teachers, and the superintendent showed up as well. So that was a really, really great event. And then finally, repaving of our streets. So they're nearly done. I think they'll be finished up this week. It's looking good. After they sit for a while, they'll come back and put the crosswalks and markings down. But yeah, I think they're almost done. So it took a little while. They were supposed to have done it last fall, but they ran out of time. So we got them early this year. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Fawcett. Any questions for Mr. Fawcett regarding his report this evening? All right. Thank you very much for your time, sir. All right. Next up is audience comments. The audience is welcome to address City Council, administration, the world. Anything you want to talk about? The Reds are, I believe, currently down 2 runs. You can talk about that if you like.
Mayor Baker, I was going to ask Mayor Baker, could I ask Judge Pendry to come back up and explain why he's here? Because I don't think he gave an opportunity to. I mean, he's running for re-election, and I don't even think he spoke on that. So, as a registered Republican in Dayton, I would like for him the opportunity to talk to the other registered Republicans to give them a reason why he should earn their vote, if that's possible.
You need to come up here because otherwise they won't hear you on TV.
Yeah, you need that mic or you can't hear.
All right. Well, that's wonderful if you're willing to put up with me again. But the presentation I made earlier was what I had in mind to do rather than politic, because it's a business meeting, right? But so far as the future goes, the first observation I'm going to make is that all of us are aware of things that need to be done that we can't quite get to. And I would also say that the government time frame for getting things done is usually pretty long. And the result is that a lot of the things that you're hoping to get done in the future are already in the planning formation stage and may take years. So at any given moment, somebody can say, what about the future? And they may expect that I'm going to come up with all these things that bear no relation to anything we're all already doing. But in point of fact, what happens is that we've already laid the groundwork. We're pursuing things, and analyzing whether we're capable of doing it and carrying on with the work. So the whole region recognizes that workforce is the number one problem that we have, and that is a consequence of national and international demographics. Not enough children born, and certainly not enough to replace the baby boomers who are retiring. And so we've got a generation to live through where there aren't enough workers in the United States to do the work. We aren't helping by chasing off immigrants either. And so with that in mind, it's the reality that we are in a competition for talent. We've got to produce get everything we can out of the kids that have been born here, but we already know enough of them haven't been born to populate the businesses we already have, much less the businesses we hope to attract into the area. So we need to attract talent here that's drawn from other places, and when they get here, they need a place to live. And there's also a national housing shortage. We're like 7 million units down nationally, and something like 6,600 units short in the next 5 years, above what's already planned and known about in northern Kentucky. So because we're interested in workforce and attracting talent, we've got to do something with the housing stock across northern Kentucky. There are some very strange things that happen. Your intuition doesn't serve you well. To the extent that you build worker housing, which is, for people just starting in the workforce, it's less expensive homes, and maybe 1 and 2 bedroom homes. To the extent that you build that and you think you're reaching your goal of providing in the current marketplace where there aren't enough homes, those new ones get bid up to the point where they aren't inexpensive anymore. They're expensive. And so you actually have to address the housing problem across the whole spectrum and build more of just about everything so that there's not pressure in the place or the price point that you need to house your working population. So that's what we're going to do. You all had a project right around the corner. I should know every house on every block by now tonight. You had a project done by the Catalytic Fund. And the Catalytic Fund has been in business 13 years. They provide a layer in a capital stack of projects that are considered too risky by banks. And that's what they did here in your city. And they have maybe $25 million to $40 million that they can call upon and act as sort of a bank, an investor in housing. They have not lost 1 penny in 13 years and over 100 projects, and they've produced 3,600 housing units. So the number one thing that a housing study we all commissioned came up with is we need to increase the investment and allow the Catalytic Fund as a proven high-quality project manager to get involved in more projects. And they could double their capacity if we can raise them more money. And they've already gotten $1.5 million from Cincinnati Foundation. They're going to get some from Northern Kentucky's Horizon Fund, and it won't be long. And I think the counties will probably invest some of their reserves in it. So what's the future? I mean, I know you asked me to tell you the time, and I just told you how to build watch. But that's it. We've got to address the worker shortage, and you can't do that without addressing the housing problem.
I have a question.
Yes,
So I read so much about younger millennials and Gen Z not being able to find jobs. So what is it? Or are they not skilled enough, or not skilled in the right way, or?
Well, I will tell you that the business cycle has not been repealed, even though the upward trajectory in the United States of business and development has not been reversed. So you're still going to get some of this. And right now, we're in a little bit of a dip, if you ask me, because of national policies that throttled the economy a little bit. But we will be on the upswing again sometime, and we will absolutely feel the shortages I'm talking about when that happens. Now, the Gen Z generation, there's a mystery to explain too. There's a group from 16 to like 25, and this is even reflected in the statistics in Northern Kentucky, that are we're not sure what they're doing. They're not working, and they may be in their parents' basement or something like that.
For them.
Playing video games, I don't know. But there is a little bit of a mysterious thing going on there. The theory is that kids sort of have an extended educational life these days. They get into sports. Sports now, you go all over the United States if you're on in a certain kind of league, and they take maybe 5 or 6 years to graduate instead of 3 or 4. So there is a little mystery going on, but my own personal feeling is that kids are kids and people are people, and we're not that much different than we once were. It's more like the incentives have changed a little bit, and maybe we need to consider changing those incentives back.
I have 2 kids, and they are young adults, and with them, healthcare is a huge issue. Childcare, insane price if you want to work and have a kid.
Right.
What was my other one? Healthcare. Oh, the cost of a home, crazy. The cost of living, skyrocketing. So when you're young and you're going to have a baby and do what? I mean, it's a lot, And so when it's a mystery that people aren't having babies, it's daunting to have a 5-year plan and a 10-year plan when you're 25 years old and you're facing this kind of stuff.
And you put your finger on things that the feds and the state need to do, and it's really hard. Those things are so expensive. Childcare can cost a family $9,000 a year.
Yeah, and up.
If you're looking at that kind of differential, then,
And a house that, when I moved here in 2013, there were houses for $22,000, I remember. A nice one for $42,000. Now there are dumpy houses for $370,000. I don't understand the math. So when we're not having a lot of kids, I can see, yeah.
I started in that whole thing about how long it takes to do things in government, and the punchline to that is, I'd like to stay and finish a lot of that. Okay? So, I may have been around for 28 years as judge executive, but the conversation needs to be about the next 4 years and whether I'm the right guy for that. So.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Yeah. Anybody else? Any questions for Judge?
Thanks, Judge.
Thank you, sir.
Good luck.
All right, that doesn't negate the fact that the podium's still open. Jerry, saw you making your way up that way.
Oh, yeah. Jerry
Name,
Huntley.
address, or at least
Yeah,
street.
Jerry Huntley, 585 Manhattan. First of all, thank you to everyone on the council with what you guys have done with Riverwatch down on the waterfront. It's amazing. We get so many compliments from people asking questions, and it's just, you've done a great job. Let's just keep it going. My only concern was, and I've spoken to a couple of the police officers, et cetera, we've had some boys down there that's really been pushing the speed limit. When I say pushing it, we're talking probably 25 to 30 mile an hour on their little motorbikes down there. So my suggestion would be to post a speed limit that gives our police people something that if they do see them, that they can literally do something.
Is there a speed limit on a sidewalk?
Oh, yeah.
Are you talking about Riverfront?
It's on the trail.
Commons?
Yeah, the trail.
I think
They're allowed to be on there, but they're not allowed to be going Well, they apparently
Right,
aren't.
seven's the speed limit. Let's just make that up.
There you go. I'm with you.
I mean, that's a good jog.
Okay.
Maybe 10.
And with that thought in mind, I would thought maybe, and I don't want to throw more work at police chief here, but if we could get one of his officers, maybe go to the school and just tell the kids, hey, we know you're going to ride bikes. We know you've got some new powered stuff, whatever. You've got to obey the limits. I literally saw a boy carrying his little sister on a moped, just about plain just go right into the side of a vehicle at the corner of Berry and his house right there. I don't know what that cross street is, third. I just went like, oh my gosh, thank you God it didn't happen. But if we could get across to the parents that they are responsible for these kids, then you might see some action. If not, it's not going to happen.
Gary, when are you seeing it generally on the trail? When are you seeing after school?
Oh yeah,
weekends?
it's after school.
Okay.
And don't get me wrong, it's minimal. It's usually the same couple kids.
Okay.
And then, but that was my only comments there. But no, you guys have done a great job. We really appreciate it. I have been, just for the record, Cassie and I have been tag teaming, trying to get everything cleaned up.
They're working on it today.
Yes, they are working on part of it, but it's still not mowed yet, and that's what I've been on them the most about lately. So, other than that, thank you all. Appreciate it.
Have you noticed with the new radar sign, the 25-mile-an-hour speed limit on Manhattan Boulevard, have you noticed a difference? Cool.
One other quick comment to you, sir. I think one of the biggest aggravations that we as citizens, these people as council members, I know Bellevue's mayor as well, keep getting the runaround about it's not my responsibility on Route 8 because it's a quote-unquote state highway, et cetera, et cetera. Something's got to happen. Joe's absolutely correct. And the big bottleneck is at Party Source, where people are coming down the road from McDonald's, they fill it up, and you get a car that doesn't want to go through the intersection because they want to get in the left-hand turn, and you'll sit there for 3 stoplights. So somebody's got to address it. I mean, when you say there's going to be open meetings, we'll be there. I can promise you, he and I will be there.
I promise you they will too.
You know, I mean, it's one of those things that something has to happen. So, thank you. Appreciate what you do.
Christian Neighborhouse, 439 Manhattan. Yeah, I'm up here to say the same thing. Judge Pendry mentioned an OKI potential grant that, sounded very interesting. More to the point, it sounds like there's a quarterly meeting that the county has with KYTC. He made an open invitation to have someone join him for that. I'm up here to do the same thing Jerry is, which is to just be right in front of you guys. It remains a problem. It remains a topic of conversation amongst all the residents. It remains the traffic issue and one of the major issues, in the city, and the city that is otherwise doing really good. So I would just, urge whatever action can be taken. And then also want to just congratulate both all the council members and everyone in the administration, as well as the police department, for this wonderful ranking, this 22 safest city, 22nd safest city. I think you said down from 120th?
100.
There you go. That's outstanding, and that's just a fantastic thing. So hats off to everyone here and police chief. Thank you.
Christian? I'm sorry, what's your last name?
Neighbor House.
Neighbor House.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice. Are you talking about Party Source or all of the traffic?
Well, I think it's true that the Party Source is the main culprit. I don't know. I understand that there's maybe some confusion about a study that was done, a traffic study. I think maybe when Manhattan Boulevard was going in, I think it's been mentioned that a study was done then, but I think maybe it's also possible that study was just done by Cardinal Engineering, and there's some question as to whether that was a full-blown study, traffic study. So I think that is a main culprit there. I'm not sure that it's not more than that. I don't know if anything can be done to change the way the lights run. I don't know, what the issue, if it boils down to one or if it's multivariate, I don't know. But
Okay.
it is an issue. And I think it's time to do whatever we can to get the state to pay attention to it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Christian. Anybody else? Podium?
Judge Pendry, when's the next meeting? The quarterly meeting for KYTC? Okay, okey-doke, but it's a quarterly and we're invited. Okey-doke.
Anyone else? Moving along to new business. I believe we wanted to discuss some short-term rentals.
So last week I sent you all a pretty detailed memo about short-term rentals in northern Kentucky and what cities are doing. We've had a lot of residents come complain about problems in their neighborhoods near short-term rentals. So there's been some discussion, should we be looking at regulating them, which currently we do not regulate short-term rentals in the city of Dayton. A lot of cities don't, but several do. And most of the river cities are regulating them. I don't think Ludlow is, but I know that Covington, Newport, Bellevue are regulated them. Is also they're being regulated in Florence, Erlanger. I think I have a few others there. Southgate, can't remember. But there are different approaches. Some take a very draconian approach, like Bellevue. They require that anybody with a short-term rental live in that actual building. They're the only ones that are requiring that in northern Kentucky. Others, like Covington, are saying you can only put one every block face. Other examples are, requiring them only in certain zoning classifications, putting a density cap, setting occupancy limits. So I went through and I kind of addressed some of these things, and so I think one of the things that we might want to consider is, do we limit them in certain jurisdictions, certain residential jurisdictions? We have 16 different residential zones in this city, and most of our largest zoning is R1JJ, which is most of the downtown here, and it goes into the hills. As you get into the more suburban areas up on the hills, the zoning changes a little bit. Most of our STRs are in the R1JJ. I think we might have a couple up in the mixed use zone, that Manhattan Boulevard. So I've just kind of threw this out to you guys. It's a lot of information. I just wanted to kind of get it on the table and start talking about it and decide what we want to do. There are two different ways you can attack it. One is through zoning regulations, and one are through just regulations such as requiring insurance. If you do zoning regulations, you got to go through the whole zone text amendment, zoning change process. Now, if you currently if we did go that route, if you currently have a short-term rental and operate it, you would be grandfathered in. It would be a pre-existing non-conforming use. We cannot take that away, but you could stop future uses in the city in those zones that you say this is the only place it's allowed to go. So that's probably the approach I think would be the most effective. And the decision is, do you want to get rid of all your STRs? Because quite honestly, we've had a number of people who've come in and taken really bad properties and made them very, very nice by turning them into STRs, and they've actually improved the quality of life in the neighborhoods. We also have some that don't have very good controls, and they allow people to run wild, and they put too many people in there, and there's parking issues. They don't bring their garbage cans back in, so we have those as well. Those are not necessarily zoning rules, but more code enforcement type rules. So I just threw things out there. Like, one suggestion I had is, if you're really trying to focus your STRs in your downtown area where you have your restaurants, bars, and entertainment, maybe you let them be in the central business district and maybe 2 blocks into the R1JJ on both sides of 6th Avenue. That's one idea. Those are people that could walk down into your urban or your central business district and then visit your restaurants and bars. But do you want to have them in Manhattan Harbor? Do you want to have them out in Grant Park? You know, do you want to have them in the more suburban neighborhoods? I don't know. That's what you will have to decide. So, and then people that live in those areas where you allow them, they're going to say, well, why are you allowing them here and not allow them out there? So a lot of difficult decisions you have to make in order to address this issue. So I didn't know if you have any questions. I know there was a lot of information in that, and this may be, I'm just kicking this off tonight, saying, hey, let's start the discussion, since there's been people asking us to do that. And that's what the memo is about, and that's what tonight's discussion's about.
Are we discussing it tonight?
Yeah, that's what the
Right now,
discussion.
okay.
We're not
Okey-doke.
enacting anything. It's just,
Okay.
I'm just trying to get some direction from you. There's a lot of ways we could go about what you want to do.
Why are short-term rental properties not considered commercial? It's a business. And you can't put a business in an R1JJ.
Well, they're still a business. They have to get an occupational license. And but it's a residential. It's not, it's a residential unit. Just like if you own rental property, it's a business, but it's in a residential neighborhood.
So you can have a short-term rental business in a strictly residential zone.
Just like you can have a regular rental house in a residential district. It's the same thing as owning rental property. It's just that it's for a short period of time.
Well, I know that the complaints, I'm sorry, I know that most of the complaints from the neighbors are parking, which is
That's one
an
of them.
issue in all over town in every city. But also with the occasional loud parties or we adopted a nuisance ordinance a long time ago that I thought was pretty strong. Does that not address that issue? That if somebody's having a party in an Airbnb and the police have to come, that we do a
3 strikes, basically. There has to be 3 strikes before you
Right.
can cite them.
but just
So-
like any other house or
Yeah.
apartment.
Yeah, so that's code enforcement. You can't do it just for one instance.
I want to, what you just said.
All right.
Okay. I'm very curious about this because I have an Airbnb.
I know.
We've had it for like a year and a half now.
But you would grandfather in if we change the zone.
It's not about me. I wouldn't vote anyway because, okay. But I'm curious because we really watch our relationship with Airbnb like a hawk, okay? And they're on us. They monitor all conversations. You're only allowed to communicate through the app. If anybody tries to get you off the app or anything, they are in there. They're on you. They are watching everything. They do not want parties. You say anything that implies a party, and they are shutting it down.
Yeah.
They're rerouting the potential guest to a hotel. I mean, they're all over you. So, God forbid, we got some kind of call about that we were allowed in a neighborhood or a party. It affects your visibility on the app. You might even lose, you might even get thrown off the app. So, have you or anybody with people who have complained, I guess my first question is, are we talking about certain properties that are problems, same couple little, or is it like a more widespread thing for complaints about Airbnbs?
We're talking about the properties that residents come in here and complained about.
Yeah, so that's, in my experience, it's a
we've had
couple.
issues all
It's a
around the
couple
city.
of repetitive complaints about, I can name them.
Well, we had an incident on Boone Street, which is the beginning of Dayton Pike, where some kids rented it, and all of a sudden they had 30 kids there. and
Yeah,
it
no,
was
they shut that right down.
Yeah.
I mean, so.
But it still happened, so,
Yeah, but
I
it
mean,
might have happened once, because it's not the way it goes.
right.
And so, I'm curious, have people called and contacted Airbnb about specific incidences, or has the city? Because as a host, God forbid. So I'm wondering, how's all this going on? Everybody's complaining, but nobody has called Airbnb on any problem properties? Because you don't, as a host, want that to ever happen.
well,
I wouldn't know how to call Airbnb.
Have you?
No, I know how to call 911. I know how to call him.
I know, but then we're making all this legislation and making it a thing like, we have to do this, we have to do that. It's like, you call Airbnb and everyone is freaking out.
What do they actually have a number you can call? Because,
Yeah.
Okay, because a lot of these technology companies don't. You have to do an email, but do you have a phone number you can call?
I think so, yeah, because if
You might wanna check
there's.
that, because Facebook does it, they don't. It's impossible to get a person on the phone.
And short-term rentals aren't limited just to Airbnbs. There's VRBOs. There's
Right.
people who have
Yeah.
their own.
Yeah, they're all the
I mean,
same.
they make it abundantly clear in their rules that no parties, no complaints from the neighborhood. They're playing both sides of the fence,
Right.
and it ruins their business model and their brand to have this consistently thought of as a negative thing. So it goes on and on. How Airbnb assesses for signs of a party. I mean, they're all over you about this stuff, and they don't allow you to communicate with these people all the time. They'll cut you right off if they don't like what's not allowed. Reducing community disturbances, enforcing this policy. We're here to help. Neighborhood support team contact. Reservation is automatically rejected and the guest is redirected to an alternative listing or accommodation type, such as a private room in a hotel. Reservations are flagged for host to review and determine whether to accept or deny the reservation. I mean, they are all over you about parties and about disturbances and about, so I'm just curious, how's this all, we live in fear of this kind of stuff. How is?
I'm just responding to residents complaining
Well,
and
the
direction from city
low-hanging
council
fruit
members.
is calling Airbnb. They won't like it. They won't like it. They'll get downgraded on the app. So,
Well, then.
so anyway, that's one thing.
Then that's what you ought to do, then that's our approach.
I don't know
We
how
need
to,
do
I don't know how to
regulations.
get that message out, but I mean, you live
I
in.
think I'm a pretty tech-savvy guy, and I don't know how to call Airbnb.
Then,
I know how to call cops.
I know, but that's do what you want, but that's involving our resources and our cops and acting like we're getting invaded, and it's like Airbnb doesn't want that kind of trouble.
Should it be a company, and I'm just playing devil's advocate here. Should it be a city initiative to make a marketing initiative that, does your neighbor have Airbnb? If so, call
I don't know.
1-800-Airbnb.
I don't know. It's just kind of, it exists. I mean, you don't want it. You don't,
I'm sure you don't.
want it. And
If I was a Uber
so,
driver, I wouldn't want that either.
yeah. I don't know. I have many questions. I don't know how much time we have. But I feel that, why would the city recommend corralling Airbnbs into an overlay area that eliminates Dayton residents, Dayton residents who own a property and live in it? To rent out parts of a property, of their own property that they pay for and they live in. What is the goal here? Is it the goal to corral guests into spending money at local businesses? It would probably raise the property values of people within that thing, and it will kind of rob other people. We're in a tight environment right now. There was one time where people took in boarders because in the Depression. I mean, you have that right. This thing right here could be an Airbnb, Airbnb started out with like a room in your house. And it was only later that these investors came in, swooped in, and started taking single-family house with the, So I would hate to take away the right of Dayton property owners to do something with the thing that they live in.
That's your call. That's fine.
Yeah.
I'm just
I mean,
throwing it
it's
out
just-
there.
it's
You all
just-
make the decision.
Okay.
I mean,
But
the only
your
suggestion
recommendation started putting people in, I'm like,
I-
holy
it was
moly.
just it wasn't a recommendation. I'm just saying you could do this. A lot of cities, they allow Airbnbs near the entertainment district where people are generally going.
Mhm.
That's all I'm saying. Our entertainment district is Sixth Avenue. If you wanted to do that, you could. Or, it's your all's call. I'm just kind of giving you what's out there. I'm not saying
So,
this is what I recommend.
Might I suggest either a public hearing or a ad hoc committee put together that we can talk about this maybe more in depth for those that are really passionate about it?
Well, isn't this what this is supposed to do, just a general conversation?
Yeah,
That's what we're
I'm
just
trying to
having
get
right
direction
now.
from you guys. If you all want to go with the council member here and say, we don't want to do anything, that's fine. You asked for help on this issue. I'm trying to give you an analysis of what is out there, and you decide what you want. Some cities don't do anything. We haven't done anything.
I think we need to get really granular on what is the problem, because that's what I want, like, is it one place? Is it 5 places? What are they doing? Where are they? How often? What has been done to them? Who's complaining? What is the issue? Instead of sort of a blanket.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I'm suggesting. I don't think we have enough information to really hash anything out tonight or come up with any actionable items.
You don't even
So
know.
it might be worth tabling this.
Yeah.
Well, if I could, when we discussed this a couple of months ago, you said that the state legislature was shooting down any kind of a short-term rental because of lobbying.
As I
Is
mentioned,
that still the case?
As I mentioned in my memo, it came within a hair of being passed. And-
Right.
And only because of Northern Kentucky did it not pass it. And KLC believes it's going to be passed next year. So even if we pass something, there's a good chance that some of the things that we're doing will be prohibited. We won't be allowed to do it, especially
That-
zoning-related stuff.
That ties into the question that I had, was, you know, when you mentioned either an ordinance or doing it as something in planning and zoning. Was there any difference in how, if we did adopt something on either one of those those paths, is there any difference with
Yeah.
what would happen if it,
So
you
the
know,
difference-
something passes in Frankfurt?
Yeah, the difference is if you just do regulatory restrictions and not zoning restrictions, that would apply across the city. If you're doing zoning restrictions, you're going to restrict it to certain areas of the city. So right now, we don't have anything. At least we had some restrictions that would apply. If you want to allow it in everywhere in the city, okay, but you got to do this. A lot of places charge, we charge $40 for every rental unit in the city for our inspection program. Some cities are charging $400, $500 a year for Airbnbs. So, I think we've already charging 40. Do you do an additional amount? If there's additional work associated with it, I don't know. That's things for you all to decide. But yeah.
If you
but-
did charge extra, would it be for everybody? Do you make a differentiation between investors that come in here and buy a place or Dayton residents that live there, which would be like a huge difference?
I don't personally think you should,
Okay.
but a lot of cities do. I'm just saying, I'm just telling you what other cities are doing.
Mhm.
It's not my recommendation.
Mhm.
We're already charging $40 for Airbnbs. They're
Yep.
required to be inspected.
Yep.
But other cities are saying, because you're Airbnbs, we're going to charge you more.
Are we still getting complaints and problems with these short-term rental properties?
Occasionally, it's, Cassie, parking is the primary issue. Right. Cassie, come up here so people can hear you.
And you have a party of 20 people staying next door, they're out in the yard, they're playing cornhole, I just think, when they're not used to that it becomes a problem. I do know, like, at my last code board meeting, there were a couple of people there that were really complaining about the parking issues. They
Right.
have several Airbnbs around where they live, and
Some cities require you to have off-street parking, but that's almost impossible for many of
Right.
our buildings that were built before we had cars. So,
we get parking complaints all day long. So add, another unit with maybe 5 or 6 cars. You have 5 or 6 families coming together to all stay in a location, or they're all going to the Reds game or whatever. So they're, kind of coming and going. And I just think parking is the biggest issue with the Airbnb.
How many places are like this that could accommodate 20 people and it come with all these cars? Like how many,
I probably maybe 3.
3?
Mm-hmm. But we also have, streets with 4 Airbnbs on them. So
But they're
all
small.
rented.
Uh-huh.
And they're not really small. I
Okay.
would say, 3 bedrooms.
Okay.
So you come with, 3 different couples with kids and all that stuff. It adds up quick,
Mhm.
people can.
So I've been monitoring this since I came here 6 years ago, and so for the first 3 years, maybe 4 years, really not a problem, because I'm watching all these cities adopting them, and I'm thinking, okay, we're not really having any issues here. But it's been the last couple of years, I think as more have come here, that we've started to hear the complaints. So but it's nothing compared to what I see in other cities,
No.
but it is more prominent now than it was the first 4 years that I was here at the city.
And Jay, can I just get a clear understanding of what this is? Just a discussion
Yes.
for you to get in front of this before it is a problem. And of course, we're all going to have different opinions, and we'll come together at another time
Right.
to all give our opinions, and
Right.
then we form something after that.
Yeah, I just put together that memo for you, just to kind of give you a flavor for what's going on in Northern Kentucky. And maybe we don't do anything, especially if it looks like the legislature may, limit what we can do next year. Or maybe you pass something that deals with how many you have in one block, or parking. I mean, parking again, a lot of these places don't have any place to put a parking, off-street parking. So.
Could you give a super quick recap of that legislation, the state legislation? Was
What-
was it lobbied by Airbnb and it was
Yes.
to take?
Oh, yeah, they're
So it
doing
was
it.
going to be super pro Airbnbs or STRs or what was it going to be?
It's been, Airbnb's spending money in legislatures all around the country.
Okay.
They're trying to do this everywhere. They're
Okay.
trying to say, no zoning, no regulations. We,
Wow,
we
okay.
should be able to do what we want to do. So, and not just Airbnb, it's VRBO, and other we call short-term rentals because it covers all those.
I think Aaron was right. I think we need real clarity on what has happened and what has been said and what are the complaints and who said what, and if there are any specific problem properties, what exactly are we looking at instead of kind of vague?
And I mean, right now, we have pretty good relationship with a lot of the landlords, so we did reach out to one landlord, sent us the video, he said they weren't loud, but, the police department came, they were quiet. So, I just think a lot of people, when you're living in a residential neighborhood, you don't want that, they're coming in at midnight after they've been to the Reds game and the bar, and
I mean,
and it just gets a little loud, if you're used to living in the city and you have neighbors that, kind of hang out and do that, you're used to that. But people that are not used to that, they think that's kind of like a loud party.
Would you say when you say is it a small group of them that you keep hearing about over and over again, or is it like a whole bunch of them?
No, we had a problem with one or two, but they were larger.
Okay.
So we, talked to the landlord, talked to the property manager, and he's kind of had a great handle on that.
Okay.
So we have some that are pretty sophisticated. They have cameras outside, not in the private areas, but interior of the property.
They want you to.
And
We have to get one.
they also have
Yeah.
like their own private security force. So if they have an issue, they go there.
Yeah.
But that's expensive. A lot of people can't afford to do that. And even with those guys that do that, we've had issues at their properties too. So, there's some things you can do to prevent it, which is.
Yeah.
It's just like what you just described on there. I can't remember what it's called. It's called like open booking or something like that. Anybody can get in there and take it. Of course, we do not have that, and so they have to explain who they are, blah, blah, blah. We're super selective. So I think that's kind of a choice on some of these investors that they have open booking and, if you're in the system, you can get in there and it does not have to be. So I think if there are problem properties, a little pressure might go a long way and you better change those settings and not be letting everybody in, And
Yeah, I mean, think about it. Most people come into town, they want to go to the Reds game, a concert, football,
Sports.
whatever. So they're all
Aquarium. Creation Museum.
Yeah, so I mean, they are going to be a little bit louder than your average. I just came from the grocery store and I'm going to carry my groceries. in
I
and
guess
sit it
if you
down.
have these huge groups, we don't have that,
Yeah.
but I guess if there'd be a huge group.
Yeah, your
I don't
situation is
know.
a lot different too. You don't.
We have
you have
we're
on-street
tiny.
parking. It's
Yeah.
back.
We got 4 maximum.
Nobody's on the street.
Right, you don't
No,
have
but we have
private
4
parking.
maximum. We don't have these big,
Yeah.
I don't know about these big places.
Right.
So that's why I'm just curious how big of a deal it is. I don't.
Yeah, and I'd be willing to, I mean, we can probably pull, police records and
Yeah,
see
I
what
just,
kind of
just when
complaints
as we
we've
start to
had.
talk about it, I just want to make sure I understand exactly who,
Yeah.
what,
I mean,
where,
I don't
how.
think it's a major ordeal. I do think that parking is top on the
Parking's already.
Exactly.
Yeah. it's
Exactly.
in
So,
Bellevue too.
all right.
I think with all of the possible changes, that, if we do anything in the next couple of months, it might get shot down in January by the legislature. I think if we can find a comparable model that might work here, but as Cassie said, parking is an issue. We've already got long-term rental properties, even owner-occupied properties that have too many cars
Right.
and have noise problems and everything else. And as you said, Jay, I think in a lot of cases, they're actually better maintained because of the review process.
Right.
And I know when I've traveled recently, and there was one place I was looking at, but it was on-street parking versus off-street parking provided. I chose the one off-street. So I don't see that I'm not getting the idea that it's that big of a problem
Okay.
here in town to really, because it's going to take a heck of a lot of effort.
I agree that compared to other cities, we don't have the issues that other cities have. Maybe because we're a little bit further from downtown Cincinnati and all the entertainment stuff, but it is more than it was the first 4 years.
And can I bring up a point of potential growth too? Because we're talking about the potential refurbishing of the Gillen Park. If there's baseball tournaments and things going on like that, we should encourage, that's my point of trying to encourage people to have short-term rentals and Airbnbs in this city, because we don't have any hotels. And if we're going to have people coming to destinations here and make this a destination city, it would do us better to have short-term rentals here. So if we could put some kind of parameters on that early and be ahead of what's going on and have these conversations, I think it's a great, because we're all going to have different opinions, but keeping the future of growth of Dayton in mind as well.
It's also a great way to expose people to Dayton. They don't know where it is. They just know it's 4 minutes from downtown from our listing, but they are very charmed by Dayton, and they do go to a lot of the businesses, very charmed. So it's kind of a nice exposure.
So what do we do at this point? Do you want to, us to kind of pull back and just maybe look at some regulations that are not zoning related, but more like
I'd more like
nuisance code related?
I want to see exactly what, I'm curious, like how, is it blah, 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 like some kind of report, like this is why we're worried.
Okay.
I don't want to
I think
make like
Cassie-
blanket
Cassie-
legislation over sort of, I hope it doesn't, like, I don't
Cassie
know.
knows where they are, 'cause she
Okay.
gets, she gets all the calls.
Okay.
Okay, we'll do that. We'll put that together for you.
Okay, good, thanks.
An update from our city council committees.
Yeah, I'll kick it off. So the Finance Committee had their meeting right before this one. I think it went well. We just had some good questions that got answered. And I think there might be more questions to pop up after this, but after the budget was proposed. So we'll see if we need a special session or not. But overall, I think it went well, and no concerns or action items coming from that. On the sports and recreation side of the house, I am short a co-chair, so if any other council members want to step up for the sports committee, open to that. Also looking for some citizen members to join that one as well. But as far as activities that are happening, the Run Club that is meeting on Monday nights will not happen this upcoming Monday, nor the following one. The following one is because the 5K that is being put on by the city. So instead, it'll be the Monday morning run with the 5K meeting at the Bellevue Beach Park. And then, Terrace, I don't know if you wanted to give any update at all on anything for the pickleball side of things.
We're just out there playing.
What nights and times?
When you see us out there playing, we're playing. That's how.
Okay, so nothing
we're out
organized
there-
at this
we're-
time?
We're playing almost every day.
Got it. Awesome. Well, that's it from those committees, unless you guys have any questions. Marketing?
Oh, the Marketing and Communication Committee, we had our meeting again last month. Some great ideas thrown around. Allison is doing a lot of research on how we can propagate messaging about Dayton out to things like the databases that they list on real estate listings. One of the suggestions that we had was to look into a mailing piece, something to send out to the citizens, you know, just a different way of communicating rather than just all electronic. And I think, Jared, that sample that you sent out, is that going to be mailed out to Dayton addresses?
Yeah, every Dayton address will get an event calendar.
Great minds think alike. So the next meeting is tomorrow night here at 6 p.m. That is all, sir.
Thank you, sir. All right. Do we have a reason for executive session this evening?
Hey, Mayor, just real quick item that wasn't listed under new business. There was a cleanup project that happened a couple weeks ago.
Yes, there was, by the Rotary Club.
And that was a fantastic event, sponsored by the Rotary Club. It sounds like they're going to probably try and do more of those in the future. But they're also open to ideas and suggestions for any other community service projects. So if you have any of those, please reach out to city council members and we can get it over to the Rotary Club for any projects that might be down in the city. And then the last thing is it'd be nice to hear maybe once a year from a representative from some of our boards. So just an idea out there that maybe once a year, one representative from one board comes and just addresses council.
Or at least provide a report.
Yes.
I'll present the report. Just give it to me. Board report. All right. Thank you, Member Judd. That is a great point out about both those items. Goes back to my previous question. Do we have a reason for executive session this evening?
Yes, we have.
Yes.
So there is a motion. Do I have a motion to go to executive session?
I'll make
pursuant-
that motion.
I'll second.
There's been motioned and seconded.
Before, I'm sorry to interrupt you, Mayor, but you need to announce under
I-
what provision it's
I'll
going
read the
into executive session.
KRS.
Please, thank you.
This is pursuant to KRS 61.810(1)C, discussion of proposed or pending litigation against or on behalf of a public agency.
Thank you. We have a motion. We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, we're going to take a 3-minute recess, not 5, 3. Was taking an executive session. Would anybody like to make a motion for us to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that motion.
Member Kelly, Member Neiman's made the second. All in favor?
Aye.
See you guys on Memorial Day.